Well, hello, Minecrafters. Today I'm taking a look at a multi-shulker box storage system. HobbitGaming actually came up with this idea and asked me to take a look at the design and see what I could come up with. So I'm using a slightly different technique here. Actually, probably a very different technique. But essentially what we're looking at is you've got your shulker boxes here in a nice little row. And when you want to get a different set, you just click the appropriate button. So let's say we wanted to get brown, and maybe we changed our mind. Say, oh, let's get green instead. And so what's happening now is the blue boxes are getting stored, and then it's going to retrieve the green boxes momentarily. Oh, there we go. Now we've got our green boxes. So let's take a look at what's happening here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and click one. So let's go ahead and get magenta. So what happens is now we've got a little minecart taking the green boxes back and then sending out the magenta cart, which are then going to deposit the boxes like that. And so we'll go ahead and click that again. And now we've got the cart going over here. And here's all the circuitry and the rail bays, as you can see. So on a very broad level, what's happening is we click the button, then that goes into these flip-flops, which then stores the state for the color of the box that we're working with. And then that is going to directly control the track switches and trapdoor. You can see that this one is different. It's turned off there. And so that controls this switch and this trapdoor. So looking at it from this angle, when the cart comes out, it's going to take this line here. And then what happens is it crosses over the hoppers, and they suck out the shulker boxes, which then get pushed into the dispensers. And then it passes over the detector rail, which activates the dispensers, placing the boxes. Now, and then the cart remains here, waiting for us to put the boxes back. When that happens, the pistons break the boxes, which then get sucked up by these hoppers and then pushed back into the cart as it makes its way back. So that's a very brief, broad level overview. Now I'll go into a little bit more detail about the various components here. So down here, we have the back side of the buttons. And what all this is, this spaghetti here, this is just separating those button signals into a nice, orderly, every other pattern here, going into the flip-flops. Now, two things happen, though, is that this line gets split here. One part goes straight into the dispenser, or excuse me, the flip-flops after a delay. Then the other portion goes down to this is essentially a reset line here. And so that will reset the flip-flops before setting a new one, so that only one of these is active at a time. The other thing that happens is this line goes up here, straight into the pistons, and then after a brief delay we also get this right here, which powers this powered rail, sending the cart on its way. You got a little delay here to give the hoppers time to suck up the boxes and get ready to push them into the cart. And that is also controlled with a master reset button here as well. Will also trigger the reset function. So that will happen first, and then after a delay, we'll then set the new state that we want, and that gets recorded here. But now we come to a problem, because this directly controls the switches and the trapdoor, but we don't want to set that just yet. We don't want it set while there's a cart over here, because we need to wait for it to get back into the system before it's safe to enter the new state. And that's where the repeater locks come in across here. The repeater locks take up a little bit more space, and so what I've done is we've staggered these. We've got one low, one high, one low, one high, and so forth, so that we can keep this every other separation of the lines, just so it meshes well with the track network here. And these remain locked, and so this state that we set here, if this changes, does not propagate into the bay area and rail system here until it's safe to do so. And the system knows when it's safe to do so when all the carts are in their bays, controlled with this detector rail here, because this one's missing here, as you can see. And if any one of those is missing, that will light this torch, powering this line, which then keeps the repeaters locked. And so now this does look a little messy, but essentially we've got one half powering the top row And then we've got this line down here powering the bottom row. And we'll go ahead and watch that in action here. We'll get a nice view, so we can see the state of the flip-flops. We'll be able to see the state of this locking repeater line here, as well as which one of these torches for the intersection. So let's go, and we're going to request a new color, say yellow, and we'll come out over here, and now you can see everything. When it goes in there, you see everything switch and go back, and you can see that we got the new state here. And we'll go ahead and now hit the master reset, and you can see that this is already changed here but has not propagated into the system yet. As soon as that goes in, now we get the new state. And now, because all the carts are in their bay here, we can see that this whole repeater locking system here is completely off because the system can accept any input at the moment. Well, I'm not going to do a whole tutorial because, again, this is somewhat large, but I'll just sort of slowly pan around the different areas so that you can get an idea of what the parts are and how the build is should you try to attempt this or see exactly what's going on with the system. And this is the alternating. We've got one over here like this, and then this one's a little bit lower, has a slightly different configuration, but this will give you a chance to sort of see how that's set up there. And this is the back side there going into the torches controlling the intersections. And now we've got the rail bays here, and so essentially they come in this way and are forced to go straight until it gets to one of these that's the appropriate line. Let's go ahead and set one so we can see that. I'm going to do green, and so we can see how the green bay changes here. So when this comes back through the inline, you can see that this is flipped the correct direction. These four-ways here, sometimes these can be problematic, but we're not actually switching this, so once you get it built the way you like, it'll stay like this because we're not changing anything around it. And so when you come out, you're always going to come out this way because you can't come out this way, because if you came out here, it would just go right into another bay without some complex circuit networks. So this is just sort of a quick and easy way to control in and out access there. And we've got so these go to the switches, and then this goes to the torch column here controlling the trapdoor. And then here's the back side of these things here. Alright, I think we've covered all the angles of the various parts here. So you can pause this if need be. This can be a little bit more compact. I spread it out so it's easier to see here how this line goes up to the top. Well, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll just hit a few more buttons as the video closes out here.